Yo, whether you watching from Facebook, moviepilot.com, Twitter, the link in my Instagram, or even YouTube itself, what up, world? I saw Point Break. It stars Luke Bracey, Edgar Ramirez, Teresa Palmer, Delroy Lindo, and Ray Winstone. It's directed by Eric Sinclair, who also directed Invincible with Mark Wahlberg. You got Johnny Utah, and he's like a motocross, dirt bike, extreme sports nut. Something happens, and all of a sudden he is an FBI agent. And then eventually he gets these leads. He's doing his thing. He starts investigating. He's young. He wants to prove himself. He meets Bodie and his crew. He assumes that Bodie is into some ill activities, and I will just say there are differences from the original and this one, but at their core, this one tries to be the original. As far as my thoughts, I give them a pat on the back for trying. They kept just enough to call the movie Point Break, and then they would shoehorn in a couple things to remind you, hey, this is Point Break, but it could have been something titled completely different. Luke Bracey is not Keanu Reeves, and Edgar Ramirez, for all his talent, is not Patrick Swayze. I'm watching the original a couple days ago, and I'm just like, yo, like if I was in Cali, if it was the late '80s, early '90s, I would probably try to hang out with these dudes. Like these are dudes that seem like they would be cool to hang out with. They're likable criminals. Edgar Ramirez crew is not likable. Edgar Ramirez really isn't likable, and you don't feel the camaraderie like in the original. And I hate, like, I'm in the theater and I'm thinking like, yo, this had, like, let me look at this as its own movie. But then, like I said, they would shoehorn things in to remind you, yo, hey, yo, this is Point Break. This is Point Break. And then I had to compare it. Ray Winstone, I think, is supposed to be the Gary Busey character, but Gary Busey's already invested in this case. Ray Winstone wasn't. And I get Delroy Lindo is like the John C. McGinley character, but he's not a dick. He rides with Johnny Utah, and then they tweak backstories, and they're not just surfers. Like, don't look at any of the promotion, man. This movie is promoted so horribly because every poster gives away basically every stunt they do. I didn't feel any tension. There wasn't like Keanu Reeves and Lori Petty, like they built a relationship. They don't use her to get into Bodie's crew. There isn't like the Nazi surfers that are about to whoop Utah's ass, and Bodie comes in and saves him, and that's how they bond. There's none of that. I I don't really know how they bond. Come to think about it, like there's a scene on a boat, and then there's a scene with an altercation. I won't give away what happens, but there's an altercation, but it's not like the Nazi altercation. See, I might have confused y'all right there. And then they try to even shoehorn the Australia tropical storm wave thing in at the end, but it doesn't have the same effect. And I feel like once Utah gets in with Bodie and his crew, there's not really that much action. Like, there's stunts, and there are the extreme sports things that they do like once or twice, but there's no criminal activity. And then once he reveals, Bodie, stop, I'm FBI, and I'm trying to be Keanu Reeves as Luke Bracey, but my impression sucks. So, but you get it. Like, that part felt rushed. The reveal of him being undercover felt rushed. And there were like two or three things that I knew was gonna happen right before it happened. Like the scene starts, And I'm just like, okay, here comes this. Sure enough, that's what happened. So it was predictable. And when Edgar Ramirez and Luke Bracey are supposed to be carrying the movie, I felt like Delroy Lindo and Ray Winstone gave the best performances. What stood out the most to me was the cinematography, the scenery, the setting. Like, all that was dope. All that was real dope. And there are like 2 or 3 actors in this movie that were in the original playing different characters. I wasn't Transporter Refuel, Ridiculous Six, Mordecai disgusted with this movie. I was just let down, man, because you didn't have to call it Point Break. You didn't have to shoehorn in the things that you did to remind us it's Point Break. So I was just disappointed, man. Like, it was dull for what was supposed to be an extreme sports movie. It was a little boring. So in my opinion, Point Break is straight. It could have been called anything else, and it just would have been a whack-ass action movie. But as Point Break, it should have been better cast. It should have been better written. It could have been a scene-for-scene remake and would have been way better. So did you see Point Break? What did you think of it as a 90s action classic and one of Keanu Reeves' top 5 movies? What do you think of the original Point Break? Check out my reviews for Sisters, which is posted, for Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is posted, for In the Heart of the Sea, which is posted. I will, in the next few days, have reviews for Daddy's Home, Concussion, Joy, and my movie talk on my favorite movies set during Christmas. That probably won't be what it's titled, though. Like, subscribe, comment, man. Find me where y'all find me. Peace.